Hi, and welcome to episode 4 of How to Do Digital Marketing, where we help people learn digital marketing in an easy manner. In this episode, we are going to be talking about an important aspect of digital marketing, which would help you to understand the various terminologies that are going to be used when you interact with people in digital marketing. Your How to Do Digital Marketing is your go-to platform which offers you tips, guides, resources, courses, as well as coaching programs that can help you to learn digital marketing and apply it for your business. In this episode of How to Do Digital Marketing, we are largely going to look at understanding the online marketing terminologies across website, SEO, and digital advertising. Because each industry has its own set of terminologies, and if you are looking to become an expert in digital marketing, you need to understand what are the terminologies that people use in this industry. And what we will look at is three areas: the website terminologies, SEO related terminologies, and a brief overview of PPC or pay per click advertising. We covered this in greater detail in episode 2, but this we will cover a broad areas of what is pay per click advertising and what are the terminologies that people use in this industry. But first, let's look at what are the website terminologies which people tend to use. The first terminology is what people call as CMS, or a content management system. Content management system is a tool that allows you to manage the entire website content. So if you want to look at a site being a dynamic site, which means that the content in your site is going to keep changing frequently and periodically, you would necessarily need to use a CMS tool. Using a CMS tool, you can actually build a website. There are a lot of CMS tools. WordPress is the world's largest CMS platform, but then you have other tools like Drupal, there's Joomla, there are even smaller tools like Wix, which allow you to create websites and dynamically change your content. But before you make actually a website, what you essentially need to do is create a wireframe. Imagine a wireframe is like an architect's drawing. It's a mock-up of a website without any graphic designer or developer getting involved. And it helps you visualize what will be the site layout, what will be the site navigation, and what will be the key site headings which are there. You have a lot of tools which allow you to create wireframes. They are very easy to use. One good example that I personally recommend is Mockup. It's available both as a free and a paid version, and you could look at using this. The third terminology is UI, or user interface. A UI is essentially what a graphic designer or somebody who knows how to make the design look very attractive and navigationally easy and makes it look good for you. So UI essentially defines how a user will interact with your website. A good UI design will consider every element of the website. You can also do this. There are tools which allow you to do this. Our recommendations to use for UI. So this is three terminologies, key terminologies. We'll look at some. UX is all about user experience, which defines the experience of a user when it's interacting with the site. So what are the kind of engagement devices that will be used to interact when a user comes and visits a website is all the domain of user experience. Both UI and UX, as it's called, is a very important part to consider when you're building your own website. Because how to differentiate your website from a competition website? The UI and the UX is what will essentially make yours look far better and interact far better. A good example is the reason why Apple is so very popular, or Apple iPhones are so very popular. The entire UI or the UX experience that a user goes through when he uses a mobile phone of an Apple as compared to any other phone is one of the main reasons of why Apple iPhones are so popular in today. Web technologies is the kind of language or the technology that you use to make or build a website. Again, there are a lot of technologies that people are using. Technologies keeps changing. The most popular technologies being used today are PHP or .NET. PHP is an open source technology, whereas .NET is Microsoft technology. But these are two world's most popular web technologies that power most of the websites that you would see around you. Hosting is where your website is placed so that people can access it. So to give an example is that once you have built your website needs to have a domain name, which is essentially starts with the www.xyz.com, which is your website. And then the domain name needs to say that where is your website located. So your website is typically located on something which is called a server. And this server is on the internet. So while physically located in some place, so what you have to do when you build a website is you need to go to hosting service provider and say, hey, I want to rent out space on your server so I can put my website in that server. And that's what hosting is all about. You can choose a lot of hosting service providers are there. Again, in episode 2, in one of episodes which are going to come across, we will be going to greater detail of what is hosting service providers. But some examples are AWS, which is owned by Amazon, that's Cloudreno, and GoDaddy, which is absolutely very, very popular among most people. Another terminology which is very important for you to understand is Google Analytics. This is a free tool offered by Google which allows you to track visitors to your website. Now, what does this tool actually do? If somebody visits your website, you would like to know what is he doing on your website so that you can improve on the various aspects of a website. So this tool tracks a visitor from the time he enters the home page to when he leaves your website and tells you where the person has come from, what's his age, what's his gender, which city he has come from, which country, what pages he visited, how much time he spent on your website, and it gives you a whole lot of data points which is extremely useful for you as a company, and you can use this information to decide what aspects of website are most people looking at so that you can improve upon it, and also helps you to improve the website performance. One important terminology which a lot of people, when you talk to freelancers or when you talk to designers, is something which is called above the fold or below the fold. Now, if you open your laptop or let's say desktop, when you open a particular screen, the screen that you see when your website first opens up on any internet page is called the above the fold, which means that if your website is designed, you need to make sure that your key communication messages are always above the fold, because that is the first thing that the person sees without having any need to scroll left to right or up and down. Similarly, on a mobile phone, when you open a website, what you see on your mobile screen and the first before you scroll up or down is called above the fold, and the content and the message is what you see after you when you scroll is called below the fold, which means that anything which is requires somebody to scroll down is below the fold. And statistics and data points have shown that the more important content is something that you must always keep above the fold. A beta site is nothing but a full-fledged site which is not yet launched and it is on testing mode. So what people do when you build a website, there are always some amount of bugs which are there. You want to get early customer response to your website, so you launch it as a beta site. So you can test out for bugs, you can test out for errors, you can test out customer responses, and basis that you can finally make your full website and then launch it as a full-fledged website. So bugs are nothing but errors in functionality or usability. So if I give you a small example, suppose you have a form on your page and you want people to fill up the form, and you want, once the people fill up the form, you want to send them an automatic email thanking them for filling up the form. Now let's say somebody fills up the form but he doesn't get the thank you message. Now that is a bug in the system which needs to be corrected. and these are all checked during the testing phase of website development and during when the website is on a beta mode. Cookies, a lot of sites use cookies. Cookies are small pieces of code which is embedded in the site. They store essentially certain pieces of information about visitors to your website. In episode 3, when we talked about digital advertising and PPC marketing, we spoke about remarketing or retargeting. Now, remarketing and retargeting is done by placing small cookies which track the user across various websites. So for instance, you may want to track the visitors coming to your website. So you would have small piece of cookie which will tell you whether this person has come to you once and coming back again. So your cookies would give you a lot of user visitor related information which is useful for you from the perspective of understanding who your visitor is and what he is doing on your website. Let's move on now to SEO or search engine optimization, which is a very important aspect in digital marketing. And let's look at what are the terms which are important and crucial for you from the perspective of doing an effective SEO campaign. What is SEO first? So first, SEO is essentially the process of affecting the visibility of a website in the search engine's natural search results. So let me give you an example. Let's assume that you are a travel agent and you're selling tickets to London. So if somebody types tickets to London, if your page comes up on page 1 of Google, that means that you're ranked on page 1. If your page comes on page 100 of Google, it would mean that nobody is going to be seeing your domain or nobody is going to be seeing a website, and as a result you will lose a lot of natural traffic. So what happens is that imagine that a lot of people are searching for flight tickets to London, and let's say there are 100,000 people searching for this particular phrase. If you are able to get your website on page 1 of Google, you will get a small percentage or a large percentage of these 100,000 people visiting a website, which means that some of them will also convert into customers. But if you are on page 100 of Google, the chance of you receiving any visitors is going to be very low. So SEO is a process of how do you ensure that your website comes on page 1 or page 2 of Google so that you get better visibility, you get better natural traffic. Most SEO is done keeping Google's algorithm in mind, because Google accounts almost about 95 to 96% of the search traffic. There are of course other search platforms like Yahoo, which is popular in the US, as well as Bing, which is popular in the US. But for the purpose of the terminologies, we will look at what is the Google SEO terminologies. So some of the key terms which people tend to use in SEO is one thing which is called SERP or SERP, and another term is algorithm. Look at what are these terms. So let's look at what are these terms. So in SEO, the two big terms that we first need to understand is what is called as an on-page SEO, and second part is what is called off-page SEO. On-page SEO is what is done on your website, and so that it helps the search engine understand what your website is and what is the content, what are you trying to say to people about your business or about your service. So that is what on-page SEO is. Off-page SEO is what is done outside the website on third-party sites or third-party areas. So what you do on Facebook or what you do on LinkedIn, what you do on social media, what you do on guest blogging, all comes under off-page SEO. So these include activities like guest blogging, directory listing, search engine indexing, and many other factors. But broadly, all SEO is done on-page and off-page, and both of these need to be done together for you to get a better rank on Google. This is an interesting and a comprehensive table of what are various SEO success factors that you need to bear in mind. So if you look at the middle part of it, which says about on-page SEO and off-page SEO. So you have content, which is the kind of quality of content that you write. what is the content, is it useful to the reader? So you have various factors which influence. So your SEO, the content is one big aspect which influences on page SEO. Then you have HTML or actual development of the site. So in terms of, do you have the proper titles for your SEO page? So does Google, or does the search engine understand each page? What does it represent? What does it going to say? Now to do that, you need to have aspects of what is called as a title tag and a meta tag and keywords which tell the search engine that this page, hey, this page is talking about flight tickets to London. There may be another page which talks about flight tickets to New York. Both these pages are different. You need to make sure that the search engine platform, whether it's Google, whether it's Yahoo, whether it's Bing, understands the difference between both these pages. And that is what is on-page SEO all about. You have a lot of tools, many of them are free, which helps you understand what your current SEO stats are. Three most popular tools which I have given below are, one is http tools.seobook.com, then there's moz.com/tools, and my personal favorite is smallseotools.com. You can use any of these tools to essentially understand how your SEO is currently working and what are the need gaps in SEO that you need to do. But broadly, the purpose of SEO is essentially to get your pages ranked on website so that you get a lot of organic traffic. Some of the terminologies are very important. So first terminology you need to understand is what is called as SERP or SERP, which essentially stands for Search Engine Results Page. So the page, so if you, let's say, put a query of, let's say, flight tickets to London. So what position does, or what does your results page show up is what is SERP is about. So SERP shows the title, the short description and the relevant websites on a particular page of the search results. So typically Google would have 10 URLs or 10 domains listed in the SERP results for each page. Your position is what is the more important aspect, which means that in the page, what is your rank position? So in a page there are about 10 results which come out. So if you are looking at flight tickets to London, what position does this query bring up your results? So it could be, you may be ranked, let's say, in the 50th position, which means you are coming on page 5. If your position is 100, it means you are coming on page 10, which means that hardly anybody is going to look at it. So one of the key objectives of SEO is to keep improving your page rank. Please remember that SEO is all about improving the page rank. Your domain rank changes depending on all the pages. Google or search or Yahoo or Bing do not rank a domain name, which means that if your domain name is www.mytraveltolondon.com, it does not rank mytraveltolondon.com. It ranks all the pages within the website, and that cumulatively makes sure your website gets ranked on various search terms. A backlink is any link coming to your site from any other third-party website, and backlinks are a very important way to improve the SERP for your particular website. Algorithm is a program by which search engines use to determine search results. So Google, for instance, keep releasing new algorithms to make the search more efficient for users. An example of algorithm, you can look it up, is called Google Panda. Then there's Penguin algorithm change which took place. There's Hummingbird. These are all various algorithm terms which Google has released. I would strongly advise y'all to actually Google Panda or Google Hummingbird to understand what the algorithm actually changed. What are title tags? We talked about that we need to tell Google, or we need to tell the search engine what each page actually means. And title tags are a way by telling people or telling search engine that, look, hey, this page is all about flight tickets to London. So it's a short title for each website page, which the search engine reads. The search engine doesn't read the entire, you have to define what you want the search engine to read. And title tags help the search engine read what this web page is all about. Similarly, like you mentioned, for each page you have a title tag. You also have a meta tag, which is a more descriptive statement for each web page. And this both title tag and meta tags are the most important critical aspect of doing on-page SEO. So a title tag would be a short description which is 65 characters space, 65 characters descriptor of what this page. So your page might say that flight tickets to London is your title tag. And a meta tag could be a more descriptor, which is almost about 160 characters, which tells you can buy cheap flight tickets to London across multiple airlines. So it could be a descriptive statement of what the title tag. All tags are essentially a descriptor of any image that you put on the website. Now, all search engines are unable to view image and understand what this image is. So you essentially have to describe to the search engine what the image is. So you might, for instance, let's say on an aside, you might have, let's say, an image of a popular, let's say, a Miley Cyrus, and say that this, so Miley Cyrus on your website. And if I write instead of Miley Cyrus, I write that this is Donald Trump. Search engine will think that this image that I put up is actually of Donald Trump. So it's very important that all the images that you put up on a website have to be described as to what this image is, so that search engines can understand what are you trying to show to people. H1 and H2 tags are essentially headers and subheadings which are used to give further emphasis on the keywords. And search engines look at H1 and H2 tags to determine relevancy of the content versus the query. And so your title tag, meta tags, alt tags, H1 and H2 tags are the 5 most important aspects of doing an effective on-page SEO for every page. So every page of your website needs to have these 5 aspects so that the search engine platform can understand what it is that this page is all about. So title tags helps the search engine understand what this page is about. The descript meta tag helps the search engine understand a descriptive statement. The alt tags helps further reinforce the content on the website, and the H1 H2 tag further reinforce to Google or to Yahoo that this relevancy is absolutely fine for this web page for this particular query, which could be, let's say, flight tickets to London. Coming to the next part, which is domain authority. Domain authority is a term which largely coined by Moz, but essentially it reflects what is the authority or the trust credited to a site for a particular search query. You can use a small SEO tools to understand what's your domain authority for a particular website. It's a rank between 1 to 100, and depending on what it is, so depending on what your rank, it tells you how trustworthy your site is. And the objective of SEO is to make sure that your site trustworthiness keeps going up. So because the higher the DA, the more prominent will be a page position and your rank position in SERP. Index pages are pages which are indexed by search engine. You typically use a webmaster tool like a Google Search Console to index your pages. So you tell Google that these are the pages that you want them to crawl and search. There may be pages within a website that you do not want Google to crawl. So you use a Search Console and the webmaster tools to actually tell Google which sites, which pages in your website you want Google to search. Keywords and keyword phrases are essentially the search queries. So flight tickets to London is something that I have typed on Google search bar. So that becomes a keyword phrase. Tickets is a keyword. Flight tickets to London is a keyword phrase. And all results in SEO based on phrase. So you need to make sure that you understand what your customers are searching for. And look at creating your content basis what your customer is searching for. Keyword density is the percentage of times a keyword is mentioned in a single web page. Please remember, please do not do keyword stuffing, which is making your keyword all across the page, hoping that it will improve your SEO. No, it will not. In fact, you will get penalized by the search engine for doing keyword stuffing. So SEO demands maintaining a decent keyword density. So I would presume if you have a 1% or a 2% density, keyword density is a great density to maintain for every page. Two less keywords will affect it. Too many keywords will get you into a spam or get you penalized. Now let's look at PPC advertising. We covered this in greater detail in episode 3 where we talked about digital advertising and PPC overview. But at this stage, let's broadly look at what is the PPC advertising terms that people generally tend to use. PPC, as you know, is called pay per click, where no money is charged for impressions. You essentially pay for the number of clicks that you get, and it's a very popular when you're actually using Google AdWords. So you only pay for results of people clicking on it. So if you look at any type, so used car results, if you type, you get to see various results, and on the top of the search or the search results, you will get to see 4 ads or 3 ads depending on which country you're in. India, you get to see 4 ads on the top and 4 at the bottom. In the US, you only get to see 3 at the top and 3 at the bottom. So this is what is PPC advertising, where you're paying for a click. So if anybody clicks on any of this ad, Google will then charge you for it. The terms which people typically use in digital advertising or in PPC is actually 4 terms, which is CPM, CPC, CPL, and CPA. CPM is cost per 1,000 impression, which means that if I show the ad to somebody, you will pay Google for it. CPC is cost per click. So if anybody clicks on your ad, then only you pay. CPL is cost per 1,000 leads, which means that if somebody fills up a lead form, then only you pay. And CPA is cost per acquisition, which means that when you acquire a customer or he does a particular action, you end up paying. What you'll choose will depend on your campaign objective. For more details on these ad buying models, please listen to or download our episode 3, which talks about digital advertising. So that brings us to the end of this of episode 4. If you want to find more resources, tips, guides, courses, or coaching programs, please visit howtododigitalmarketing.com. And I wish you all a very good day. Thank you and goodbye.